Stuart. Thanks for joining us today. I just am so glad you're here. Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Stuart Vick. I've owned Amerispec Inspection Services for about 20 years. Started off as a one-man show in 2002, and like everybody else, was kind of lost everything in the '07, '08, '09-ish market. Then once it bounced back, we started growing pretty rapidly. Ended up with 6 guys. We got 6 home inspectors that work with us now, a couple of office people, and we're just rolling along doing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. So today I wanted to the topic would be, top 3 things that you think would kill a deal, and there's no wrong answer. So I just wanted, what's one thing that you think you could
Yeah.
share?
Someone telling a home inspector there's no wrong answer. That sounds like that's sounds like that is trouble waiting to happen. I would say the first thing, the biggest deal killer, whether it be us or the termite inspectors, but a bad crawl space. A lot of times sellers don't know what kind of poor condition their crawl space is in. They never go down there. I mean, nobody wants to go down there.
No.
We don't even want to go down there.
Right.
But moisture damage, rodent infestation, insulation issues. I mean, you can get into the thousands and thousands of dollars down there. And a lot of times sellers are not prepared to pay for that. Buyers can't afford to fix it, so they just walk. If they would have had it inspected prior to,
Yeah.
they could have lowered the price or made some type of arrangements to fix it. But I think that's the biggest deal killer.
Yeah, no, I know, I agree. Those things are pretty spooky.
I know that we've done a couple of years that were pretty rough.
Yes. And I remember finding myself, especially when the market was super crazy, just like crawling under there
Yeah.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not a home inspector, but I was like,
I think I've
this
seen
in
a picture
reports.
of you under a house, if I'm not mistaken.
You probably did. Guilty.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But that just shows you're a good realtor. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So thanks for sharing. That's a really good one. That's
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah.
What might be another one you could think about?
absolutely. I would say the second thing are the HVAC units. A lot of people say if it's still running, then it's good. I would argue with that. They have a life expectancy of 12 years. We see them all the time lasting. We did one the other day that was 35 years old.
Whoa.
Still working good. It was at the beach, which makes no sense because the stuff rusts out there.
Crazy.
It was
Yeah.
weird. However, the types of refrigeration used back then is very hard to come by, very expensive. So if you have an older unit or 2 units, and you know that they're going to have to be replaced within 2 or 3 years, a buyer's going to look at that and see, $25,000 worth of repairs in just 2 years. And if nobody's willing to do anything about it,
Yeah.
it causes a problem.
Right.
It causes a problem. I've seen a lot of people walk away from that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do get HVAC inspections. And I believe Chris with Green Dot, very good guy,
Yes.
does a very good job on the HVAC inspections. We do inspect HVAC. It's just the state standards tell us what we can and cannot do, and it's very limited.
Yeah.
Very limited. So they can get into it, check the head pressure and everything. But we can't do that for some reason.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just point out kind of what you see and then just kind of recommending who. But I totally agree with you because.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it's running good, you can always kind of tell if it's running properly. If it's making weird noise, if it's really humid outside, and then it's humid inside, it's obviously not doing its job because air conditioning, basically, if you get down to it, you're just removing the humidity out of the inside air,
Right.
and that that cools the house. So, but I think for the most part, I guess we do a decent job on HVAC. It's just typically it's better to get somebody out there on older units.
So, Stuart, you mentioned that you have some limitations and, with HVAC and things that you can and can't do. Can you elaborate on that for
Absolutely,
me, please?
absolutely. The state of North Carolina, they have a home inspector division
Mm-hmm.
that is, I guess, tangled with the fire marshals.
Hmm.
So they set out a standards of practice for us to follow, what we can and can't do. One of the things we can't do, we can't take head pressure on the unit, so we can't connect any type of gauges to it. We're not required to open up any panels. Um, we don't check any of the electrical with any type of voltage meter. So it's kind of limited in that way. So if people expect us to get an exact picture of the entire HVAC unit, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately that's not the case. We can do an overall, we do an overall assessment of it, but sometimes it's just, there's things that, like if a capacitor is going bad, no way will we know that. There's no way that we can know that. So it's things like that that's kind of aggravating that, people think that we can do and we can't.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That
Yeah,
makes
little
sense.
stigma on us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you probably get some angry people calling you sometimes.
All the
Actually, I
time.
know that for a fact. That's
All the time, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's a good industry to be in, but yeah, it's also there's so much red tape over in each one of our lives.
Right.
People just don't realize that it's not just the agent.
Exactly.
There's the
There's
whole crew.
there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Stuart, what is your final reason that for or scenario where the deal could just be kaput?
Honestly, I would say it is because a lot of times the sellers will be home,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the buyers are present,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes the seller's agent, the buyer's agent, everybody's got their own feelings. Everybody's got emotions. There's been arguments, and buyers have actually walked because they got in contact with the seller. Uh, heard things they weren't supposed to hear, or the seller didn't know they were supposed to say. So best case scenario, the seller would be gone. Everybody would let the home inspector, do their job, and of course the buyer maybe at the end of the inspection, could get together and, with the inspector to review the findings.
Yeah.
A lot of times buyers don't realize what they're doing. If I'm outside looking, at siding, poking on siding, they'll come up to me and they'll start talking about random stuff just to be
Wow.
friendly.
Yeah.
And if you talk to me, I'm going to miss stuff. It's just going to
Yeah.
happen.
Right.
So I would say that's my top three. I
No,
would
those
say
are
that.
good.
Yeah.
Those are really good. Those are really good. Keeping everybody separate, I mean,
Yes.
I've had the same thing, with, a buyer walking away because they didn't like the listing agent's attitude
Oh yeah.
or something like that, and I just have to remind them when this is done, you don't have to be
Right.
friends with that person. You don't
Exactly.
have to see him again, change your locks, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Silly
This is all
reasons. Absolutely.
temporary and it's stressful for everyone, so it's best to just stay out of each other's way.
Right.
And yeah, also let the inspector do their job.
Right. Right. And yeah, I understand on these multi-million-dollar properties that a lot of people want the listing agent there,
Yeah.
which is fine with us. Just go somewhere else. Just go in a office, in a bedroom, or
Yeah.
sit in your car or something.
Yeah. Make some calls, right?
That's how you get your work, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. It was so good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for being here and listening. If you made it this far, please follow us and look forward to more great content and learning more about real estate in North Carolina and beyond, and hear from the best of the best. So follow us on your favorite podcast app, whatever that might be, and have a great day and come back.